You always in you always in the mood. Starts with a All right, everybody, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Oh, apologize my voice. Still getting through this nasally feeling. But all good, fam. We have a holiday going on today. Markets are still open. They're still moving. A lot of movements going on, a lot of tension in the market. So we had to hop on today, regardless of what was going on. Um, and we're gonna go over some things that I think are gonna be very, very interesting. And everyone just has to pay attention. All right. And this is something that, to be honest, I did not expect to get into this year. Uh I don't think anybody did. I mean, who knows? Maybe some people did. But it is tensions are crazy high right now, right? I feel like, I mean, I wasn't born at that time, but if you ever studied history and you learned about the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's kind of what it feels like, right? During the 60s, during the Cold War, right? The Cuban Missile Crisis, that's kind of what it feels like right now, right? And it's um it's so wild to think and the way that this can go, right? And everyone has their own opinions as, which way it should go and what's going on, but the harsh reality is that it's looking like it's going to be imminent and the markets are going to react. And we already saw it happening, right? I'm going to go over the market movements for a little bit. First of all, before I go on to the market conditions of the current state of market conditions, I want to talk about what happened yesterday. All right, so yesterday um we had an FOMC meeting. Jerome Powell was talking yesterday. They did the regular inflation meeting. Here's the new interest rates, still the same exactly, nothing changed. All right, that's still the same. So we're not worried there. But it was just a beautiful time of trade, family, and I put out an alerts. I've been putting out, statements of everything that's happening, whether it's on the Instagram chat or if you guys are on the school program, I put them all on there. This is something for everybody to know. Interest rates, we already knew they weren't going to change. Trump keeps coming after Jerome Powell to lower these interest rates, and it's just not happening. I don't even know why. It's uh it's pathetic at this point. We should start going in that direction. But besides that, um yesterday was a beautiful day to scalp markets. And as expected, I've been waiting for this to happen. And I think we caught the perfect entry. Family, I have been in a sell in US 30
Hello?
since yesterday. All
Hello?
right. I have been selling US 30 since yesterday. I have been pretty much shorting the markets since yesterday, since um even crypto too. I took some crypto profits, closed in Bitcoin. Um, but if you haven't, family, I suggest this is your moment to do it. We just broke out of the zone. I've been in it since up here. I had about four positions opened, and I closed a few further up here. So I got two running, but I'm looking at this long term, right? I'm looking at this long term, right? How long is this going to happen? I'm looking at market structure, patterns, conditions, key levels, price actions, fundamental news, everything like that. I'm looking at, and I'm trying to keep an eye on big movements, right? And if I look at this on the weekly, I mean, this is a beautiful move, family. Look at this. And if I was to go ahead and draw, let's say a a short position indicator, right? Let's say I entered here, which was what I did, right? We'll put stop loss right about this key level right up here, and then drag this all the way down into the mid 30s, right? And I'm going to show you something real quick before I expand. let's say here mid 30s, right where this key level is right here, where this wick candle was, right, or is currently, right? As a matter of fact, the key level is actually right up here. This is where the key level is. Okay. So let's be conservative and push this up to that area. Let's go. Let's be even with it right there. Boom. That's gonna be our key level. All right. So let's say I want to go here. Market, the way the markets are moving, it could get there, right? War is an economy, but it's not a profitable economy for the markets, right? The markets fear, the markets trend, and then most of the money in war is made in short sales. Short sales as well as profiting from manufacturers, right? Producers of war is what they call them, or war dogs. War dogs, producers of war, right? People that make metal, bullets, ammunitions, tanks, all this shit. Those are the companies that will start to explode. Especially if they're new and low, governments will take advantage of that fact. They will bid for government contracts and they will bid for a lower price than the big companies, and the government will jump on that price because it's a sale. It's a killer deal. It's like a fire sale. And they'll jump on it because they're gonna get the same exact thing for a less price just so the little guy can get their name out there, which is, that's the way markets work. So that's the most common way the markets start to go along and people make money profits during war, besides shorting. Shorting is just pretty much selling disasters. And that's pretty much where this is going to be made, family, right? And I think the time is now. I've been in this since yesterday, and I'm going to hold this as far as I possibly can, right? And this could be one, but there's also many, many, many more possibilities depending on how long this goes, right? Because I just put it here, which is a nice, beautiful key level. We would have to break through this area right here, pretty much where it is right now, in order for us to get a strong push to the downside. And if we do, then we can see this push all the way down to low 30s. And if you really want to push it further and it breaks that zone, then we come to the ultimate key level of 30,000 right there. And I'm going to put the second key level right there in that area. And again, this all coincides not with market, I mean, with market structure, yes. But most importantly, fundamental analysis being news. The news that's out there, what's happening in the markets, right? How is the markets reacting to war? War is an economy. One of my favorite quotes is that war is an economy. And those that don't, they refuse it to admit it are either in on it or they're just too stupid to understand it. War is an economy. And this is exactly what's going to happen right here. And it's just all lining up perfectly. Market structure. Look at that structure break. Retest continuation. Hits a high. Retest back down. Now we're going low to low. Retest the high. Now we're going to swing back down. We got the massive wick. We got to refill. This is going to come down. Looking at Bitcoin, same thing. Bitcoin is even better. I like Bitcoin. Look at this. Bitcoin is giving me even better notification. I was so happy yesterday, to be honest, when I sat down here and I was doing this structure and I was analyzing this and I said, holy crap, I really been wanting Bitcoin to go below 100,000, right? 90, I'll take it. 80, 70, even better. And I'm realizing this is very, very likely, right? I might even get a beautiful price right out here of like $70,000, which is phenomenal, right? You got double bottom right here. You got tip. No newer highs being created. We're about to have a bearish engulfing. It all depends on this monthly candle. Bearish closure, it's about to happen. Things are happening in the Middle East. Doesn't look good for the way money's moving. Not a direct attack on crypto, not a direct um threat to the cryptocurrency market, but overall, that's just the way money moves. Money's gonna start leaving the markets because people want to keep cash on hand, right? We want to keep cash safe. So we're pulling money out of the markets, have the cash on us in case we need it. Even the off-risk investments don't move in times of war because people will think money's locked up. All right. So look at this beautiful pattern right here. And I'm looking for this to come down, boom, right there. Anywhere between 82 to $70,000 for Bitcoin, which I love. I love because it doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going to crash and collapse. It just means that Bitcoin has to go through a major retest, a major retracement, just like it did here. If you guys look at Bitcoin back when it topped 69,000, right? It had the huge pump, 65, retraced 50%, which was great. We did that over here. We hit 111, 110, retraced back down to 76, pushed back up and made new all-time highs, pushed back up and made new all-time highs. And then it retested and came all the way back down, almost 90% retracement. Guess what we're waiting for, family? We're possibly waiting for this to come down here, maybe even lower, maybe 55. But then once that happens, guess what? See this whole swing up here from 55 from where was it 20,000 to 110, 111. We might go from 55 to 275,000. The volume keeps increasing. This is what I've been preaching. This is what I've been preaching is since day one. I've been preaching this since day one. Right? Crypto will always move in large volumes. The volume will always increase. Year after year, the volume increases. That never changes. Period. Point blank. It can't change because of the math behind the blockchain. Period. That'll never change. It doesn't change. It's impossible. It's impossible. And people that, don't understand Bitcoin don't understand that simple fact. Okay, which is why you see Michael Saylor just buying Bitcoin left and right as much as he can because he knows the math. He understands the concept of what Bitcoin is doing. So at this point, it's just, yo, listen, war's gonna break out. Cool. Take your short sales, profit as much as you can. Once this is low, you got money in the bank, you got money in your broker, pull that money out and you move it into cryptocurrency, right? Boom. That's how you do it. Now, to the next topic. Good morning. What's up, Chris? So, next topic. Speaking of crypto and brokers, Osprey is shutting down on July 7th. So, I got about 27, wrong. Sorry, my math is off. About 17 good days before I have to find a new home. So, I'm just growing this account as much as I can. And then we'll find a new broker. I haven't looked, to be honest. I have no idea where to go. Um, I was gonna think go to Eagle FX, but then Eagle FX has a merger too. They're having issues. Their spreads are all weird. Um, so apparently I haven't been hearing good things about them either. So I might have to do a little bit of broker hunting, but I at least want to capitalize on these next 2 weeks, 17 days or whatever that I have with this broker. Um, but I also don't want to delay it too long because I want to make sure I swing from one branch to the other immediately, especially if we have this, scenario where the markets are pretty much showing us, this is a good trade. Sell this market, sell this, buy this. It's pretty much telling us. I want to make sure I'm ready for that. Crypto not looking good. Just got it. Nah, crypto always looking good. Crypto always looking good. I don't care what price crypto's at. Cryptos will always look good. I've been saying that we might have a strong retracement back down to like the 70s, and that's beautiful because when that happens, say money's gonna start flying into Bitcoin like crazy. We got good news out of Taiwan. Or was it Thailand that just, no capital gains on cryptocurrency. Florida's passing a bill too, literally just Florida alone, no capital gains on crypto trading, crypto profits. Yeah, it's Osprey. Osprey shutting down. So I'll just have to, start exploring, seeing what's good out there. Hank O trade. I'll check them out. Hank, what do you like about them? Is that what you use, or is that just what you heard? I'll check it out. Hank O trade. Yeah, I can't use KO. Oh no, can't use KOT. Can't use KOT. Can't use Hugo. they're cracking down after all the deregulated brokers, to be honest. That's kind of like the big problem. Doesn't matter which platform you use to trade them on. All right, in terms of news for today, we had let's see, what do we have for today? We had GBP keeping interest rates the same, bank holidays for US and NZD. Tomorrow we got Friday, we got pretty much nothing. Philly Fed tomorrow and retail sales for GBP. That's about it. And then we'll ease the week with no trouble. I use Hanko Trade, don't have any complaints. Oh, hey, okay, another one. Someone else complains. No. Someone else recommends Hanko Trade, so I gotta check them out. We'll definitely check them out and see what they got. That's what I look for. I look for good brokers that let me trade whatever the fuck I want. Right? I'm not looking for crazy leverage. I don't need crazy leverage. Right? I want good customer service. I want easy withdrawals. I want crypto withdrawals, and I want no fucking regulation. That's what I want. And bonus deposit. Okay, good. Let's see. I'm down for that. Yeah, family. So I mean, there's not much. I mean, to be honest, this class is pretty straightforward and simple with this one. We have war, the threat of war at the horizon. And it's crazy, fam. It's crazy to think, what's going on. It's just thinking about the loss of life, and it's just fucking like what can you do, bro? Like that's just the way it is, you know? Like some shit you can control, some you can't. Good morning, Sylvia. Why not KOT? Because we couldn't use KOT. So here's the thing. We use KOT, no, we use KOT. We use Hugo's Way, which is partnered up with KOT. But Hugo's Way wasn't working with MetaQuotes. What I have to find out is if KOT is working with um TradeLocker. So I'm not saying no one eliminate them completely. I just personally didn't use I used them before and they don't work with MetaTrader. I just haven't tried them with TradeLocker. That's all. So in terms of war stocks, I personally do not have any actual war stocks to invest in. And what Eduardo means by war stocks is like stocks that'll profit based on what's happening in current war situation. So like I explained earlier, companies that bid on government contracts, right? Because you guys don't know that's all public records. You can actually find companies. You can actually be the company who bids on government contracts to fund war, right? To provide whatever they need for war. No, you bid how much you want to get paid, and if they like you, they like the price, and you can bid on it. So, most of those new companies will start doing that. I'm pretty sure that's just being flooded right now. Um, but in terms of, stocks to invest in is think about it. War puts a halt on everything, right? Especially if it's in a direct path of some kind of business being conducted, right? And here's the problem. This is why this is just, I guess, my personal opinion on how I believe the world works, right? Or how the economy works in a situation like that. So this is very different than just Ukraine and a Russia war, right? Like the closest thing I have, the closest tide that I had between the Russian and Ukraine war was what I don't know if you guys remember the story, but um, I used to own a 2021 Audi SQ7, and the Audi dealer used to call me all the time because they wanted to buy it, and they were offering me above what was the mark what was worth, and I didn't really own much money in that car, and I had huge equity in it, so it would have been a win-win. And they were trying to put me into like a 2023, 2022 SQ8, SQ7, brand new models. And when I found out, when I spoke to the dealer, they told me that my car was fully loaded. The only thing it did not have was massaging seats. That was the only thing was missing. But out of if my car had 20 features on the what was the name of that package? It was called the executive package, right? If I had 20 features that came with the executive package for 2021, then the following year, 2022, the executive package will only have maybe about 12 or less, just a random number. And the reason why is because most of the stuff that was required and needed to build that car was made in Ukraine. And because Ukraine was in the middle of a war, they couldn't get the same products from Ukraine on time or with the same quality. So they had to outsource. So, of course, it would drop the value of the cars coming out ahead. They couldn't charge that much. You can't charge the same price if you're gonna give less features. Just an example of the features, the my own personal experience. So in a scenario like this, if you ask what to invest in during this time of war, it's very different because you have to also pay attention. It's not just Iran and Israel, right? And I'm sorry to get so graphic here, but everyone wants to pull their dick out and see, yo, who's got the biggest one at this point, right? Israel fires at Iran. Cool. Iran fires back at Israel. Cool. You think it's a fight between, this kid and that kid. But then this kid has a friend named North Korea. And North Korea says, if you keep fucking with my friend, I'm gonna pull mine out and I'm gonna slap you with it, right? That's pretty much what's going on. So now then the first guy has a friend too named America. And he says, oh, ours is bigger, we'll slap you even harder. And then they say, oh, but China and Russia. And then we come say, oh, but we got France and the UK. And if you start looking at it, it starts to look a fucking world war. It starts to look like World War. Because what happens is you create this tension, right? You create this tension of like who's pushing the button first. And if you guys know anything about history, if you remember what happened with World War II, the reason World War II started was World War II, World War One. I think it was World War One. It was the assassination of a duke somewhere. I don't know the exact details, but it was the killing of one fucking guy. One guy. The assassination of this one person created a chain event that led into a world war. So yeah, that's where we stand today. So if that happens, then guess what? Tesla stock starts to collapse because they need products that they have to outsource from China and India, but they're too busy fighting the war, so they're close to business. And then the next iPhone may be halted because they gotta go to China or India or South Korea, but they're also close for business, so nothing starts to function, right? And everything starts to come down. And when everything is low enough and situation and tension starts to ease, that's when you want to buy. That's when you want to buy. As a matter of fact, you want to buy it on the way down. The problem is that you don't know how low, right? And the way things are going on right now, especially with Iran, Iran's becoming this kid that is just being pinned against the corner, one. But if you ever seen the way Iran talks, like they're pretty wild, you know? They've spoken very publicly, death to America, death to Israel, death to, Europe. All this shit they've been funding for terrorist groups. So yeah, it's a big situation. And the way that Trump is talking, right, is getting to a point where he has to make a decision. And it's not a decision, it's not an easy one to be honest, because it's either, I mean, he's trying to plead with Iran to, come to the table, let's talk, let's negotiate. And Iran does not want to. They do not want to come to the table. They don't want to deal. They don't want to negotiate. So it's getting to the point where, now it's gonna be like, okay, now if you start doing that, like even today, was it this morning or whatever, like they shot missiles at Tel Aviv, they shot the stock market down over there. The US was able to intercept some of those missiles from fucking miles away from ships and submarines and whatever. But now it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. And that is a very good point. Now it's gonna be my next point, right? In situations like this, when you want to find out what to invest in, right? Most of the things that will start to explode. My most common one, I wouldn't say gold to be honest. I would say oil. I would say oil. Right? Oil is gonna run the war. You need oil for fucking tankers, ships, aircrafts, bombers, everything. Tanks, you need the oil, period. So oil will start to pump up. Trump said he keeps telling them they don't want these. Yeah, I'm telling you. And that's the problem, fam. Like, you know what I mean? Like at a point it's a little funny, but it's not. But like they don't understand like this like, they fucking with a guy who got felonies. You know what I mean? Like think about that shit. Like this motherfucker got felonies. How many baby mamas he got? He is not someone to fuck with. And that's it, just that's just the street side of me, you know what I mean? And they don't understand that. And it's just wild and it's gonna come to a point where here's my next step, right? Either Trump is bluffing and Iran calls the bluff, which is gonna be fucking terrible for us, or Iran thinks we're bluffing and Trump says, okay, you effed around, you found out, and then they level out the entire country completely. So it's gonna be crazy, fam. But regardless of whatever happens, I still think these markets are gonna continue to collapse. And if they do, hey, listen, while the world is fucking around over there doing whatever they want, our nice profits are getting all juicy over here. North Korea, Eduardo said North Korea ready to join Iran. Exactly, North Korea, like, bro, stay in your own corner, bro. Like, calm down. That's what I'm saying. At this point, it's just like, it's pathetic. It's crazy. I just wish that everything comes to peace, right? Just because, let's get shit settled. Um, let's calm down. I don't want anybody to die. Think about it. There's kids in both countries, to be honest, period, point blank. Right? There's mothers, there's kids, there's elderly people, there's life. And it's crazy the way that it's working out, right? But anyway, fam, that's enough for me and my 2 cents on this. Does anybody else have any other questions for me? North Korea been waiting for so yeah, I'm telling you. They want they want the smoke. I think that's what's gonna happen. They want the smoke. All of it. But I want to hold these two trades. I'm gonna keep this market's gonna short regardless. I'm looking forward to it. And then we'll see what happens next week by next week. All right, people. Have a great rest of your week. You guys be safe. Um and just be ready, fam. Much love to all of y'all. See you guys next week, all right? Take care, everybody.